Thanks for watching Digging Deep. And today we're digging into a refreshing of a 2007 Honda TRX 250EX. My kids ran this machine for a little while, so did I. I think I have another video where my son and I are ripping around. Long story short, this machine is burning oil, probably valve seals, but we're just gonna pull everything apart, check everything out, re-ring it, hope that everything's in spec. I got rings, valve seals, and a gasket kit, so we're hoping to go over this top end and make it not smoke again. So I'm going to make a video on the process of doing that, and hopefully everything goes as planned. Just can't stress this enough, guys, before we jump in here, to always refer to your service manual. And I do things how I've been taught, and it might not be the proper way that they want you to do it per the service manual. And I'm going to be referring to the service manual that I have on my phone throughout this video to help everybody out. But we're going to start out with a 10mm to get this valve cover off. So guys, this is again why you revert to the service manual. These two bolts are for the rocker arm. We didn't have to loosen those up, which is fine. Tighten them back up when we assemble everything. But yeah, so it's 9 bolts. So I just wipe the push rod down. I just took the exhaust side, and then I'll mark towards the top. I take, you know, what I got here, some brake clean. Yeah, just take some brake clean off the top. And then I'm just gonna put like a EX for exhaust right here. All right, guys, I just wanted to point out these two dowels here and here. Just don't forget they're in there. Sometimes when you pull the old valve cover off, you might send them for a ride. And I like to just crack them all loose before you go too far on them. Just make sure you're seated on your... That's good. All right, the two along the side here, right down here, right on the side of the jug here. I don't think I showed you guys that. I just told you about them being down there. So we're gonna go ahead and remove those. All right, guys, fingers crossed here. Now, if you look, I left the exhaust all in one piece too. You know, could have the head pipe and the silencer and muffler separated there. And I just left it on there to keep it easier, and kind of pushed it forward. Took the bolts off of the muffler back there and kind of went forward, and then zip tied it up. That seems to be an easy way to make this a little bit more speedy, a little bit more of a speedy process. Okay, so this thing is definitely a little pasted. It's probably never been taken off before. And I wanted to show you guys this. You got two dowels over here. Okay, so two dowels here, and then you got two dowels on the side there, just so you guys can see that. There's a look at that cylinder. It's got a pretty good glazing, but it's in really good shape. So what you're going to want to do is to check your crank play straight up and down, which we have no play at all. That side to side is just the wrist pin in there on the piston movement, but that crank feels really good. I don't see any crazy amount of heat that the engine has seen really on the crank itself. So looking really good there. So yeah, just your famous blue shop towels there. And I've wiped a lot of that grime and stuff off the top of the piston. Alright guys, so this is my hunter I'm going to be using to get the glazing off of here. I'd rather, I wish I had a ball hone for this, but this will do just fine for doing this job. We just want to eliminate the glazing and get a good cross hatching. So I'm going to get in and work this cylinder out a little bit and start the honing process of this cylinder. Yeah, we're going to clean this up good, get a look at it. I'm going to come back and clean. Oh my gosh, guys, look how good that looks. I don't think you can probably see that well, but man, that cylinder looks beautiful. No imperfections in there. Really good cross hatchings. That cylinder looks really good. There's one little area right here, but we'll get our cylinder dowels out. Take some measurements. I usually do from the top, middle, and the bottom, and then I rotate 90, top, middle, bottom, and I write all those measurements down. And just make sure your cylinder is not egged or anything crazy. But 9 times out of 10, as long as your piston wall to cylinder clearance, ring gap clearance, and all that's good, you can pull it apart, make sure that's good, and slap it back together, do a honing, and relap your valves. We're going to go through that whole process, and you will be good to go, especially on these Hondas. They're just great machines. All right, so that's it on the cylinder, guys, other than coming back and doing some real thorough cleaning of it. I'm going to save that for after we go over the cylinder head here. I'm debating whether I should port this thing, but that's going to be a lot of extra work. I did it on the last one, and this one's just getting rebuilt, guys, and it's honestly going to go out for sale. You know, it's just one of those things that I constantly get stuff, I fix it, and then it goes out for sale. So I'm trying to put this whole cycle process I've been doing with buying and fixing up and reselling and into my YouTube channel here. But yeah, we're gonna get our valve compressor out, and we'll pop these valves out. We'll do the cleaning process. We're gonna check the head for warpage. That's a real simple process. You just use a good straight edge. You kind of just go across and then back across and get your filler gauge. And just like the other tolerances, you gotta check your service manual and make sure you're in spec for warpage. But I'm almost willing to bet that we will be good to go. We're gonna pop these valves out and obviously clean the cylinder head itself up here. The exhaust valves are hardened steel. You can distinguish them apart, but I like to make sure you don't mix them up. So, you know, I've done this since I've pulled apart my first cylinder head. I got an intake, and then I got an exhaust valve over here, and I just separate everything and set it off to the side. All right, guys. So I got the tool hooked up here on the intake side, and basically that's about what it looks like. You set that one blunt end up against the valve. Just be careful that doesn't spin and damage your valve. And you're just going to slowly spin that in until you can get your keepers right out of there. The little trick the trade is just use a magnet. You could use a small screwdriver and kind of rake them out as well. But let's get in here and get to work. Alright guys, I'm going to drop the intake valve out. It's actually really good. Sorry about the heater there guys, I apologize. It's actually a really good looking valve. So we'll clean that right up and relap these in, and it'll be sweet. All the burnt debris on there. This was definitely burning oil. There's a lot of crust on the top of that valve. And then well, we'll probably jump back in here when I clean this up and show you what I do to clean these up. It can take long. Probably could have went over a little bit better. There's some stuff that's kind of stuck to the roof of the piston dome there, but that's clean enough for me. Yeah, so on the last head I had removed from a 250. I did like a minor port and polish and just opened everything up in there. And I tell you, it made a difference in power. I didn't go crazy with it either. Definitely not going to worry about that with this. We're just going to spray it down with some brake cleaner and try to break some of that dirt and debris loose there and clean this thing up really well. And then next step we're going to do is just get these valves and lap them in, and we'll be all but ready to slam this thing back together. And oh yeah, and obviously clean the valves up. And a lot of times I just get them on the end of a drill and pretty much just spin the thing around and spray them down. And I'll use a piece of Scotch brake pad, or you can even take them to a soft wire wheel too if you want to clean them up rather quickly. All right guys, so just going over it, spraying it down. Just going over it with the soft wire brush here and cleaning them up. Sometimes I like to put them in the drill. And I like the top of that, it's got a lot of build up on there. Had a little shot. Everything is a mess. So yeah, that took a little work. I do have aftermarket placement valves. Alright guys, yeah, it was like a whole kit. I had valve seals and everything down here that I totally gotta have. Brake pads and everything for this machine. Alright guys, we're just cleaning everything up here. I'm getting ready to pop these valve seals, and then we're going to put the valves back in this cylinder head here. This is the kit I bought. It was a Tusk. I like these. Also like Moose. I know that probably some have done it and it worked just fine, but even though they're brand new valves, lap them in every time. Here's your valve lapping tool. Sometimes it wants to sit good and sometimes it doesn't. All right, guys, this is my assembly lube, mixture of the two. Just an old mechanic had taught me for building engines, and that was the way he did it, and that is the way I've done it ever since. I don't know if anybody else ever does that. When I seat the valve in, I hit it with a little bit of spray. I just filled the chamber up a little bit there, and I don't see no leaks, so we're good to go there. Rocking forward every time I want to press it. But there, we got a good suction on there. I just had to spit on it a little bit, get a little bit better grab. But you'll hear it's starting now to get a little bit quieter. See that? That's what you want to get to. Job slapping that in. So we got the intake valve in. Keeper seemed to be seated in there pretty decent. Everything looks good. Do the little spray test. You don't gotta put a whole lot. It's gonna leak. You'll see it pretty quickly if it didn't mate very well. That's the way I like to check. And no leaks. All right. We're going to check this for warpage real quick. I'm just going to do this on a time lapse. Again, check your service manual, but basically it's pretty easy to check for warpage. Spin it. Usually just press my leg against it right here on something and we'll get the job done. All right, I just hit it again. That did a really good job. And with a couple nicks I was telling you guys about there, probably wasn't a bad idea just to make sure they were obviously already there, and I did not do them. Somebody's already did the top end on this before. Oh my gosh, that looks really well. Looks really good, guys. So the proper way to probably would be to pull these studs. But why go through the headache when you don't have to? We're just gonna get a wire brush on it, clean them threads up, and you'll thank yourself later. Alright guys, so I like to leave my bolt set in there, and you'll see a lot of guys too make a cardboard diagram. I've done that too. But these two corner bolts here are the two long ones. So just so y'all know, these two here are the two long ones. Alright guys, last thing we're gonna do, and get all that oil off the best we can. I got those two rocker arm nuts that mistakenly loosened already. I got those tightened down so I wouldn't forget. She's ready to go back on. I still need to clean this cylinder up, but like I said, spend the time on the mating surfaces. It took a while. That gasket was on there good. Still got a couple little pieces that are on the bottom end over there. I gotta get off, but we're getting there, guys. I gotta go do top of this yet. I'll make quick work of that. The head gasket usually does pretty good, but yeah, that was I don't know, at least a half hour or so on that alone there. That was a task. Alright guys, I got that cylinder slid on there. Just removed the piston rings. I do apologize, I was going to call it quits. Went ahead and got those little pieces that were left on the gasket down there, from the gasket down there, and I said, well, let's get these piston rings off, the old ones, and do our piston to wall clearance check here. We're just going to pop on here. I'll get on my phone quick. I'm going to look up the service manual for this and check our clearances. Alright guys, so 6860 is the service limit for this, and I know we're inside it. I mean, if you don't have one of these gauges, you can sneak in here like this, but it's going to be highly inaccurate because you're just getting the top of the cylinder. You want to check the cylinder from top to bottom. Alright guys, we're going to shoot over here. I apologize. Next time I shoot these videos, I got like a clamp on camera mount I'm going to start using. And I didn't think about it till I already started halfway through these videos. So this is why I wanted to take the piston out, because it's going to be extremely hard to get a good accurate measurement on a micrometer in here like this. But let's see what we can try and pull off here. So I did almost forget, guys, because I didn't have my new rings out yet. We're going to check the service limits on these rings, check the ring gap. You know, you have one dark piston ring, and then one, it's like a lighter gray. One thing to always remember, the top ring's got a little bevel, a bevel on the ring, and you always want to keep your letters up. So yeah, I just want to throw that in there. All right guys, I had to switch around. I'm glad I did, because I've seen how horrible that view was. I apologize if I missed some clips. All right, so what I say, it was 0.5 millimeter for the top ring, and we fit in there just about right. So that's perfect, guys. So we're going to pop in the second ring and check the specs on that. All right, guys, I got that in there, and that's fitting really well. And the service limit is 0.7 millimeters, 0.03 inches. Okay, on that second ring. All right, your oil rings and spacer can go in there anyway, as long as you got your two rings inside of the spacer. They're pretty easy. And like I said before, you're going to have your beveled. Let's start with the second. The second one, you're going to have the RN non-beveled edge on the ring as the second, and then the top ring is going to be the beveled edge, the grayer looking ring, and that'll be the top ring. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, guys, we got our oil rings, oil spacer ring in there, and you just want to make sure you are 20 degrees apart on those, and then the top two rings, you just want to make sure there's 120 degrees span in there from each other. And I will drop that picture in the video here. Now I know almost for sure at some point somebody's gonna bash my secret sauce, my secret assembly lube. Now 2 strokes, I always use 2-stroke oil, but for doing my 4 strokes, every time I got this STP oil treatment. Again, this is what I do what the service manual calls for, and then some of this oil treatment. And this is mixed into this, so that's what I've been using for a few years now, and I don't know, it just always works really well for me. This might be another thing I get criticized on. I know some people glue them down, but I like to use on all my gaskets just a real light coating of grease. You won't have it stick like that, I think, when you tear it apart to work on it next time. And grease, all in all, just helps for a better seal, if you ask me. I like to put it on my O-rings and everything too. And so you can see the discolorization, where it needs to go on that, but a real light coat, that's all it takes. And all right, guys, so far so good. You just got to make sure, really make sure that this cylinder is going down straight. And take your time. I like to use a little tiny screwdriver and press those rings, and there's an indentation on the cylinder too, but you got to go all the way around like full 360 sometimes to just keep working that head down and make sure it's not uneven, because that is where you'll fight yourself. So yeah, our gasket's off a little bit, so I like to really straighten that up as best as possible before I seat this down. I just kind of work it really slow. Again, don't force nothing in there. Alright guys, I don't know if you can see this too well, but down there, so we can get to the flywheel and rotate this engine. We got 3 10mm bolts that I already had backed out there for you guys, so I'm going to get them off. That one, and that one. We'll get those off, and then we'll be able to access the crankshaft to rotate the engine. Alright guys, we got 14mm. Let's get you on the bolt down there. Let me grab a flashlight here. So that's how you can turn the crank. I've turned the piston up and down a couple times. Alright guys, I stressed the timing in one of my other videos on the clutches on these things, on the clutch, on the change clutch and centrifugal clutch on this. You got your little T mark. I don't know if we're going to see that, but there will be a little T mark. It's just down a little bit in there, but you know you're in the right time when the magneto kind of doesn't allow it to stay there. If you're 180 out, I think it'll sit there perfect for you. It's just one thing to keep in mind. But that's that's for checking your timing up, guys. And at the end of this, we are going to shimmer valves up. So I just wanted to point that out there real quick. All right, we got our beautiful Tusk gasket kit here, guys. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to get this one backwards. We went ahead and cleaned it up again, wiped it down again, just to make sure and ensure no contaminants are on there. We want a good seal on that hood gasket, base gasket as well. All right, guys, we're ready to slam this head on here. Now my exhaust kind of in the way here, but I didn't want to have to take the whole thing off. Saved me a little bit of time, but. Now, sequence may differ from the service manual. Again, guys, refer to the service manual. You know, you shouldn't be doing this stuff without a service manual. A lot of them you can pull up online, if not going and order one. You might have to pay a couple bucks for one, but hey, it's worth it. It's worth making sure you're doing all this right. But I'm gonna put these two cylinder bolts down the side here before we torque this head down. And that will make sure my gasket lines up properly. I'm just gonna run these down a little bit, guys. All right, guys, each one of these, the washer down on there. All right, guys, we got our push cups. Oh, geez, it's been a late night. We got our push rods here. We got exhaust. We got the intake. We marked those, like we said in the beginning of the video. I'm gonna drop them right in place here. Guys, just make sure you got engine oil on these threads here. I already did that. I don't know if I caught that on camera or not. But just make sure you got the threads lubed up, and they're gonna get torqued down to 22 foot-pounds. We're gonna start a little over halfway and bump it to 12 foot-pounds, and then we're going to do our final 22 foot-pound. All right, that was 22 there. There's 22. Jump over here. All right, guys, I'm hitting these two cylinder jug bolts here on the side, and I want to say they're like 7 foot-pounds. All right, guys, make sure your dowels are still in place. I'm gonna put this little handy dandy valve cover gasket on there. Setting the valve cover on here. Again, don't force it down. Gotta get onto them rocker arms just right on the push rods. So just setting these bolts in here, you'll see them set up about 3/4 to an inch or so, and that's how you can gauge what bolt goes where. Like that one, you know, that one doesn't go there. You know, that one goes there. That one goes there. So that's how I do it. All right, guys, start on this valve cover here. Be very careful. I'm using an impact. You don't want to. Nasty thing you want to do is go too hard. I just go light on the trigger. All right, guys, so double check your bolts, go over them twice. You know, don't over tighten them. 7 to 10 foot-pounds are what these bad boys are going to be set at. You'll be good to go there. So we're going to crank this engine over and rotate the engine a few times just to make sure we don't have any binding issues. All right, guys, we got the whole engine assembled, torqued down. We're going to rotate this thing and see if everything's free and spins like it should. And we'll check our timing as well. Make sure everything's still good, which it should be. Alright, guys. Seems to be spinning good here. Alright, we're going to get onto our crank here. 14 mil.
And we're going to spin it. And we want this on the compression stroke at top dead center. And I bet she just flew by right there. I need a smaller tripod next time I do this. I do apologize, guys. I will try and get better at this stuff for you guys. So yeah, we're gonna go back around again. This will probably, whenever you can set it right on the timing mark and it wants to set right there, you're usually out of time. So you want to come back around and hit it where you can feel the magneto pulling on it from staying there dead on. Alright, I don't know if you guys can see that in there, but we're right on the T, on the timing tick mark there. And I have a wedge in there. See, the magneto wants to make it the flywheel move around a little bit, which makes it hard to be on top dead center. Now, if you're the other way around, 180 out, and it just sits right there, you know you're on valve overlap, and you want to come back around and make sure you're actually on the compression stroke. I stress about that a lot in my other video of working on 250EX. Just something to keep in mind for all you newbies taking this on yourselves for the first time. All right, we lucked out, guys, because these valves do need adjusted. I did some work on this thing, but I only did so much. My last one I really fixed up. I did several times, but these definitely needed adjusted, that's for sure. So you just hold that, and then just loosen her up there. Just loosen her up a little bit. This one was tight, so I'm just going to go a little loose with it. And you're going to get your 5,000 filler gauge. Most of these Hondas, like the CR50s, I got a 70, XR70 sitting behind us. A lot of them are 5,000. But again, double check your service manual. That's pretty good right there. Slight resistance. And I know this is blocking the light and it is not the best camera view for you guys. All right, I think we got that one pretty close. Feeling pretty good. Bolts always get a little heat to them, obviously. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit of anti-seize around the threads here. All right, guys, we got us a new exhaust gasket to slap in here. All right, guys, I'm gonna get this exhaust mounted back up here. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get these started here a little bit. And you just basically want to keep hitting each side and come down on that gasket evenly. All right, so I got the one in there, and as you can see, as I was saying, we're having a little bit of alignment issues here, but that's nothing. We'll get a pry bar into the side of this if we have to, and get them bolts lined up. All right, so I've seen that the starter mount is missing a bolt. Now I just bumped into it and seen that it was loose. We better fix that while we're in here. All right, guys, we're looking pretty good here. The Got the plug to get in it yet. Spark plug, carburetor, airbox, and such. We get the spark plug and the carb on here. We throw the gas tank on top and fire this thing up. That's good sign. No smoke. Awesome, guys. Awesome. All right. Hey, guys, she's running. I gotta make some carb adjustments here quick, but she is running. No smoke. Don't know how much more we'll dig into this tonight. I'm gonna be back on it in the morning and address this fuel leak. You can see it right here, leaking in on the side casing. It's gonna make a mess. So we'll probably just pull the tank, set it to the side. That way it don't leak all over the shop here. All right, guys, we ran a couple heat cycles last night. I just did a compression check here. We're looking good. We're up in about 155 to 160 on the cylinder. That's great. Everything's running good. It sounds quiet. The valves adjustment doesn't seem noisy. That's spot on. Sometimes if you get on the, like I say, the larger side of not having that proper resistance, maybe more towards 6,000s, you will hear a rappy sound in the head, and you just got to close that up and make sure it's on the tighter side of 5,000ths. Quiets these things up big time. We got the starter bolted up better, and we're going to do a couple heat cycles, but I got a leak in my fuel tank, so that pretty much sums everything up, guys. The rebuild went pretty good, went really well. And guys, don't forget, a good thing to check once you get everything done and built and fired up. If you're worried about the wondering if the head is getting oil, right here. Okay, so as soon as you get it running, just take this 8mm bolt, take that off real quick, pop it off. You'll see, just to make sure you'll have oil come out. It makes a little bit of a mess. You just gotta clean it up and put it right back in, shut it down, just to ensure you're getting oil from the passage to your head up here. So that's a good thing to check, just so you know everything was put together properly. All right, guys. Well, we got the 250EX top input in, everything buttoned up here. Like I said in the previous clip, did some heat cycles, but I'm a firm believer of once you break it in, or break it in how you run it per se. But yeah, I like to run a couple heat cycles before I go running it and listen to the engine very closely and make sure nothing sounds wrong before you just go ripping and tearing. And so I do that about three heat cycles, check them all, and then after that I will actually run the machine just like I normally would. But guys, I hope you appreciate the content here. This is one of my longer videos probably I've ever done. I want to start doing more projects like this. We also have Project Banshee. If you see my last video, I just rebuilt the carbs, and kind of rode it around, and just kind of went over the machine and just was telling my buddy, man, like, hey, this needs some work. Maybe we could work something out, because I really just, after I took a spin on it, after the thing was running right, I really hopped on that thing and had the desire to just give that thing some love and fix the machine up. Now, Project Banshee is probably going to be a slow process. I wish I could say I had the money just to go balls deep and just kind of buy everything for the Banshee, but I've already done a good bit of work to it. But look for some more videos with the Banshee coming. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this, drop me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and everybody, if it's your first time in here, come on down and give me a subscribe there, guys. But thanks for watching Digging Deep.